from Dionne Warwick. That's what friends are for. And unfortunately, one of man's best friends is in a dog. But unfortunately, a 7-year-old boy has been killed by their own two dogs, bulldogs. And this happened here in Kumasi on the 2nd of July 2023. So if today is the 11th, so it happened some 9 days ago. Now, since then, the young boy, Jude Reku, has been buried. And, this morning, your Hemin Terrier is here to tell us more as to circumstances that led to the dogs, these two bulldogs, attacking this 7-year-old boy and killing him. But based on what has happened at Abrepo, a place called Bonikrum, we ask, do you own a dog? As you listen to us this morning, do you own a dog or do you own dogs? Do you have children in the house? How well do they know the dogs, or how well do they know these pets that you have in your home? How safe are your children around these dogs? Now, if you're wondering why we're asking all this, it has to do with this 7-year-old who died some 9 days ago, as a result of their own dogs. And, him and Terry is here, he'll be telling us much more, like I said. But this is a boy whom we're told knows the dogs, plays with the dogs. And unfortunately, this has happened. Now, you realize that many Ghanaians would want to own dogs. So they come to your house. I have people, I rear dogs. So people come to my house, they see how big they are. And then the person is like, oh, you have dogs. Oh, I want to have one. So people ask for dogs. So give me a dog. But the question is, when you have a dog, how well do you train the dogs? In this part of our world, what we often do is that, when you have a dog, you feed the dog, you give the dog a name, and that's about it. But we don't train the dogs as to where to poo-poo, where not to poo-poo. We don't train the dogs as to do's and don'ts. There's some training when you give to the dogs. They can relate with you like a human being. I know here in Kumasi, a certain man, very rich, wealthy man, he also purchased dogs some years ago. But he did not raise the dogs himself. He didn't train the dogs himself. He allowed his watchman to do the job. So one day the watchman came and said, listen, I have a funeral to attend up north. And so he was leaving. Now, this man had this watchman take care of the dogs, but his son was also capable or able to manage the dogs. One day, I don't know what happened. He entered his house, opened the back of his door, and was picking up some items from the back of the door. The gate to one of the dog's kennel was opened. The dog jumped to his back, bit him badly. So, in your own estimation, as you listen to us this morning, how well can we protect children around dogs? You can send us your thoughts to 055 995. And you tell me, if you own dogs, how well have you trained your dogs? How well have you trained them such that they are comfortable around the children of the house? Now, we have an expert, somebody who's a breeder. I've purchased a couple of dogs from him. He is on the phone lines right now. His name is Banahini. Chief, good morning to you. Hello, Banahini, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Chief.
Well, I'm sure you're well.
I'm fine, by God's grace. And you?
The Lord is my shepherd, as always. I am well. So, Banahini, hold the line for me. Let me engage with Ohimi Interior, who is a man who was on the beat for us. Ohimi, you took a trip, to this Bonikrum at Abreport Junction, where two bulldogs were told, unfortunately killed this 7-year. On some stories they're saying 8 years, others are saying 7. But I want to go with yours. This 7-year-old boy, Jude Reku. Tell us about the circumstances that led to this incident.
Yeah, David. This is a 7-year-old boy. Lives in the family's apartment at Abreport Bonikrum. The family has lived with the dogs for almost 6 years now. It's just about 6 years when they noticed they were being threatened by armed robbers. So the father, electrical contractor, decided to bring in the dogs. So if you look at the story, I said that one is 5 years and the other is 6 years. So these are dogs that have lived with the family all this while. So if the boy is 70 years, it means that he has acquainted himself with the dogs for how long? 6 years, all his life. So the dog is a friend to the child. That is what I was told by family sources. And anytime the father or the mother or the grandmom, all of them are at home, the dogs comes out and then play with the boy. So it was on this July 2nd at about 5 p.m. after the dogs have been fed. This time the father had traveled to Takoradi for a contract because he's an electrical contractor, and the mother had also traveled to Sweden, where I learned she is pursuing further studies. So she has left the shores of the country about a month ago when the incident happened. So the boy was left with the grandmother and then another sister. So whilst playing in front of the house, let me say on the veranda, then these dogs started, approaching him as if they were there to play with him. Then they started, attacking him. The unfortunate thing is that a few moments after the dogs have been fed, they actually left the food unattended and proceeded to where the boy was playing. So the boy was minding his business, and these are dogs that he has lived in the house with. So he thought that maybe they were there, in a playful manner, but suddenly they started attacking the boy. They mauled the boy, dragged him. In fact, I've seen the pictures. The pictures are not good for the eyes. If you see how this boy suffered in the hands of the dogs. And even when the boy started crying, shouting for help, the sister came and she couldn't withstand it, went in to call the grandmother, who also wanted to intervene. And in the process, the dogs also attacked the grandmother. They started bathing her in the thigh, under her breast, on the hands, and the arms, and several places. So it was a little girl who managed some courage and went out to shout for support. But unfortunately, there was a little these neighbors could do, because these are wild dogs. Dogs attacking their own friends, people who have been feeding them, giving them food and all that. So they have lived with them for several years. So the residents, there was little they could do. So all that they could do was to call in police, and police from Boshen arrived at about 8 p.m. They arrived at 7 p.m. rather.
We took 3 hours also after.
At 7 p.m. And it took them almost an hour to bring these dogs under control. And the only thing they could do was to fire gunshots. They came armed with AK-47 assault rifles, fired 11 shots, 5. First give 4 to the female dog to weaken the dog. And at that time, the male one has, he fled the scene because
he went into hiding.
Yes,
knowing what was happening.
Of course. So police had to look for this dog, and it was at that time that they located the dog in one of the drains, in the house, and they also give that particular dog 6 shots. So in all, 11 shots were fired at these dogs. So you can imagine how big these dogs are, how strong they were. For an animal to receive 5 shots from an AK-47 and 11 at that particular time, you could imagine how strong these dogs are. But unfortunately, when the boy was sent to the Accident and Emergency Center at Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, he was pronounced dead on arrival by medical officers on duty, and the body was deposited at the morgue. It was not until Tuesday, after post-mortem, the body was released to the family for burial. So even last Sunday, they had a church service at the Abrepor Roman Catholic Church, and then the family later gathered in the house in memory of the late Jude. So it's been a very painful.
I'll come back to you for us to continue our conversation. But let me speak to Banahene, who's on the lines. And like I mentioned, Banahene himself is a breeder.
Yeah.
He understands dogs. And like I said, I've purchased a couple of dogs from him. So,
but I wanted to get some dogs from him as well.
But Banahene, I mean, having listened to the narrative given to us about Hemi Terrier, it paints a picture that this is a dog that the boy, Jude, the late, knew. It's a pet. They play with this dog. What would make such dogs turn around to attack somebody that, it knows? What would make such a thing happen?
Let me take the opportunity to say good morning to your human listeners. And then I was trying to know the type of a dog that they were keeping. See, each particular dog has its own traits. So if it happens to be a pit bull, you're not supposed to breed a pit bull when you have children, especially if you don't have time. Normally, there should be a pack leader. They see the father or the mother who has been feeding it and managing it as a pack leader. So if that person is not around, it means that they are in charge. Especially so if you don't treat them very well. So if they were fed and they left their food and they went ahead and attacked somebody, what will come into your mind, the first thing that will come to your mind is that, what were they fed? What's the regular time that because as you talk now, it means that they're about 5 years old. The dog should be around 5 years old. So probably there have been some consistency of the way they were feeding the animals. I even don't know when they brought those two animals to the house. So in the first place, you need to know what type of a dog that the owner was breeding while they were children. In fact, traditionally, the bull mastiffs and the English mastiffs were bred in homes that have children. They are very loyal to their owners and their family members. So if you have children in the house, you don't bring in a pit bull, you don't bring a Tibetan Mastiff or Caucasian Shepherd or Rottweiler when you don't have time to train those animals.
But apart from training those animals, I mean, unfortunately here in Ghana, we don't train such dogs. All we know is that, oh, I want a dog, I need a dog, and we go for dogs. We don't train them. Like I was saying initially, all we do is that we give them food, we give them water, and then the best thing we do after that is to give them a name. We don't, like you were saying, we don't even know the temperament of dogs. So the Boer Bulls, the Rottweilers, the German Shepherds, the Caucasians, all these breeds are out there. We don't bring them home and train them. So first of all, tell us about the breed of dogs, the common ones that we have in Ghana. I know that Boer Bulls are common. I know that German Shepherds are common. But tell us about the other common breeds that we have in Ghana.
There are all sorts of animals in the country, all sorts of dogs.
Tell us about their Banani, hold on for me. Tell us about their temperaments. When we want a guard dog, which one do we go for? If we want a pet dog, a playful dog, which one do we go for? And when we bring them home, how do we train them? How do we introduce them to family members?
That's the most important thing we need to do. If you have children in a house, the best you can have should be a Bull Mastiff or an English Mastiff. The English Mastiffs are not common. They are very loyal to family members and children. The Bull Mastiffs were trained for that one. The Boer Bulls are strong. They are security dogs, and they are independent animals. They also will need to be trained. So when you bring the animal home as a puppy, then you have to make sure that there's proper introduction between you and the dog, and even your family members. They're supposed to feed them. You should make sure that they're supposed to know that they are the least when it comes to packing. They are the least in the home. If you don't do that and you are not around, they want to take charge. So if you have a home, you want to protect it. And it's very important any world house will have a dog in the house for security, if not for a pet. There are a lot of robberies around. So the best of the dogs that you should have in a home when you have children should be the Bull Mastiff or the English Mastiff. Apart from that one, if you want to go in for a Rottweiler, or you want to go in for a Boer Bull or a Great Dane or any of the dogs, you're supposed to train them. But we normally don't do it. I need a dog. Sometimes they even do a lot of misbreeding. A Rottweiler, they mix it with a Boer Bull or a Bull Mastiff or whatever it is, because they think the I want a very wild dog. For what? If it's solely for security, then you have to make sure that the time you open them for them to come out and feed and do their normal potting and then also take care of your home is well managed, so that they don't come into contact with anybody in your home. If you don't do that and you are not around, it's possible you may face some of these unfortunate situations. I want to believe that they did not feed the animal on time. That is why they will leave their food and come over to where the boy was. But naturally, if you have been doing what you've been doing all the time, they will finish their food first. It could also be that they were hungry and so angry. It could also be that they felt that they were giving attention to the boy more than to them, especially if you happen to be a pit bull. Normally, in a certain region, any dog that's a foreign that looks a little big, they say is a bulldog. But bulldogs normally don't attack.
But Kwame, Kojo, one of my main question from the ones that I asked was, how should we introduce them to people in the house, the family, the children, the mother? How do we go about the introduction?
Every dog, most of it, about 90%, takes about 2 weeks before they take charge of the environment. 2 weeks. So when you bring them home, the first 2 weeks, you make sure that every member that is supposed to stay in the house is around. If you bring the animal out in a leash, let them be around. They sniff them, pat them, have their hands around the animal for some time. First 2 weeks. They're supposed to know the environment in the first 2 weeks. You open them, you're supposed to be around because you are the pack leader with your cane or something. The one you speak to it, you understand that I'm not supposed to do this or do that. You should understand the trait as well. I mean, that's where my concern is. Don't just bring a dog home because you want a dog. Even for security, fine. So the other breeds of dogs, when you have them, you have to make sure that they are well trained and managed and they're obedient and that, so that when you shout, you will understand and stop whatever bad thing they were doing. If you don't do that, you say, oh, I just need a dog, then you will have an issue. So first 2 weeks of bringing a dog in your home, especially when it's mature, you're supposed to make sure that he's well introduced to the members of the home. And don't leave children alone with your dog if they didn't grow up with it. I don't know how old were these two animals. I don't know how old were they. It could be that because of the robberies, he went and bought them from somewhere and brought them in. And so it is assumed that they are there with the boy for some time. But if you have been consistently feeding the probably around 1 o'clock, and the owner was not around, and those in the house didn't feed him or feed them at that same time, they've gone hungry for some time. And so they will not like it.
But Nahini, one other question that I have on my mind is the fact that these, breeds, the Rottweilers, the Boer Bulls, the Caucasians, the German Shepherds, the Bull Mastiffs, the British, Bulldogs and all that, they are like human beings. They read our minds. So when they realize that you are afraid of it, they have that control over you. They take that territory and own it. How do you tame such dogs? How do you make them know that you are in charge? How do you even help your children to get to have that control and be in charge of those dogs? How do you do that?
Detecting fear in human being is through the eye for every dog. So normally you're not supposed to look at eyeball to eyeball if you're afraid. If they saw that you are afraid, then they will see that they are in charge. Sometimes it's also because of fear, out of fear. They may attack because of fear. That they are afraid that you're going to do something that they don't trust you. They can also attack you. The dog doesn't trust you. So normally when you come into contact with a dog who wants to do anything bad, no dog is bad. And we human beings that are supposed to manage them, you tame them well, and they can do whatever. Even lions, people tame lions. And then they can do what you really want to do. But when they detect fear in your eye, so normally if you come into contact with a good dog, if the animal is not sick with rabies or something, you are not supposed to look eyeball to eyeball with the animal if you are afraid. The moment they detect it, they may be thinking that you are also thinking something. Then they may be attempted to attack you. But I want to encourage that if you bring a dog to your home, make sure that he understands that he is the least among the pack. He is the least among the pack means that everybody in the house, being a human being, is stronger and bigger than that animal. If you don't do that, and they think that the moment the owner is not around, they are in charge, he can misbehave and do all sorts of things. And so when you enter somebody's house, make sure the owner is around. Make sure you've been asked to come in before you enter. You don't just go to a house with a dog and think that, oh, Madame Fulano is my friend. I've been seeing that dog for all the time. He's always in the cage. I go around the cage and nothing happens. If you misbehave, that animal may attack you out of fear or out of thinking that you have something in your mind. So when they read it, you may be thinking negatively and do something wrong.
But let me come in with this other question. So we're talking about training our dogs. Yes. Elsewhere, they train the dogs such that they can communicate well with these dogs. It is not so in our situation. Only in a few homes have people been able to train their dogs and communicate with them. Do we need an expert? And do we have experts out there who we can bring to our homes to help train dogs so that we would know how to relate with them better?
I normally don't bring a professional trainer to my home, because if you bring a professional trainer to your home and he brings the animal up to a certain standard, anybody that understands that professional language can take your dog away. I have a way of training my own dog. It's a consistency for 21 years.
But it's because you are a breeder and you have bred dogs for so many years. So you understand their temperaments and stuff like that. Somebody like I mentioned comes to my home, sees my dogs. Oh, shall I do? So you give that dog, that friend of yours, a dog. The person is clueless about how to train or raise dogs.
Dave, it's totally wrong. If you're having a dog, it's like owning a gun or having a car. You're supposed to know how to drive before you can drive it. You see, but we think that, oh, Kramai, because we have local ones. These are not like local dogs. They are different. They are specially trained. They are specially bred for specific purpose. So if you want to, for instance, if you want to pick a dog from me, I will ask you a lot of questions before I tell you. You have children in your home, I will never ask you to go in for Rottweiler or a Pitbull or Dogo Argentino or any of the dogs, Tibetan Mastiff. I would say, no, don't go and bring those ones. Technically, the white man has bred the English Mastiff and the Bull Mastiff for homes with children so that they can be very loyal to their owners and keep their territory for them. If you are alone in your house, you travel out, and almost all the time there's nobody in the house, and you think you can manage the dog alone, I would say they're going for a Rottweiler or going for Caucasian Shepherd. They are very alert, they are very aggressive, they can attack.
Again, but let's look at the scenario where this young boy, Jude Urekun died, 7-year-old. Now, the household, they know that, well, they are friends with these dogs. Unfortunately, this happened. In a situation where dogs attack somebody, what is the best way, to help the person that's been attacked? What's the best way to control the situation?
Is you go fetch a bucket full of water, poison on them. Once you splash their face with it, you have at least 5 minutes to run away. That's the best option.
I've also heard people say that pick a gallon or a drum and beat it hard in terms of distracting them. Does that work?
That will not. The moment they get angry, something happens to their skin, their body. They become tougher. Unless probably you can hit the eye or something. And even that one with the pitbull, when it gets hold on something, you cannot remove it. So the best of the option is to splash water on their face. Then they will allow the thing to go.
In this instance, when the police went to the house, we were told that it took them over an hour to be able to kill these dogs with 11 bullets, 5 and 6. What do you make of killing these dogs?
Well, these lions. Probably they didn't hit well. 1 bullet should be able to kill a dog. It should be able to kill a dog. AK-47, it will penetrate and probably you will find a miss. But I would not subscribe for. The owner was not around, and so different. That was what will happen. I'm trying to see the kind of dog that was in the house, because you see, normal simple dogs, family dogs, will not attack their owner, a boy, a child. They will leave their food and attack somebody. No, they will not do that.
In this case, it wasn't only the boy that was attacked. The grandmother was also attacked and harmed.
Yes. So I'm saying that the unfortunate thing has happened, but I'll blame the owner of the dog. The pack leader was not around as at the time that the animals were outside. They've not been trained to obey any other person than probably the mother and the father. And so we are in charge in the house. And we'll misbehave.
But should we be
you didn't bring
treating
us our food on time.
And should we be treating these foreign dogs just like we train we train our local dogs? Unfortunately, our local dogs, we don't even train them. We just leave them anyhow. So when it comes to local dogs that people also have, should it be the same approach in terms of training them, taming them, as we do the foreign dogs?
Yes. Some local dogs are very aggressive. It's so that they are not huge, so we can manage their energy. See, the difference between this one and the foreign ones are that they are huge and very strong. So when they get aggressive, you cannot stop him as a human being.
But aren't you worried? But aren't you worried that we leave some of these local dogs to, ply our streets anyhow? I have heard situations and stories where
it's a nuisance.
Where somebody a dog enters somebody's house because there are other dogs in there. The owner of the dogs at the house, the children go to drive away the other local dogs. They bite the young boy. 2 or 3 days after, the dog starts barking or behaving like a dog because it's become rabid and then dies. It happened at Kote not long ago. So, shouldn't we be bothered about the way we have our dogs, local dogs, going up and down our streets?
It's a nuisance. Why should dogs be allowed to be walking on the streets? If you can't keep a pet, why do you bring it home? It is Assembly's responsibility to make sure that the roads and the community is cleared of all those animals. The Assembly's responsibility. They are not fed. They get infected with rabies and all sorts of things. They attack other dogs, and then they bite human beings, and they get infected, and people die. I think that we need to make sure that dogs is money. Dog is money.
Yes, I know dog. I know it's money. I mean, one dog, depending if it's an original, real, pure breed. You can get it for like 5,000, 6,000, even 12,000 or 15,000 Ghana cedis. But the bottom line is the fact that you have money to buy a dog doesn't mean you can own one or manage one. So if you want a dog, I mean, before you take leave of us, what would you say are the do's and don'ts? Just run us through it. Do's and don'ts in owning a dog.
If you have a dog, make sure that the animal is well trained. Make sure that the animal knows that human beings are the parkers in the house. And they are dogs, the second rate in the home. The dog is supposed to know what to do and what not to do. They're supposed to be well fed. If you have made sure that you are feeding them at a particular time in the course of the day, make sure that at that same time they are fed. Because sometimes they can also get upset. The moment you buy a dog, know the type of dog you are bringing home. You should learn a little about their trick and know how to manage it. But me, I will not blame those dogs for what has happened. I'll blame the owners for not doing what they're supposed to do as owners of the dog and the father and mother to the child. And I want to believe that as we move ahead, we have to make sure that our roads are also, our communities are clear with stray dogs that roam around. They can be nuisance, they can do all sorts of things to other people.
But before you take leave of us, my colleague here, Leo Stanley Boite, wants to ask a question.
Yeah, but do you think there should be regulation on the type of dogs that should be brought into this country? Because currently I've seen a lot of people breeding pit bulls and, people like them for their aesthetics, but not really considering their danger, like what you are saying, if there's a family and all that. Do you think there should be a regulation? Because I know in United States and other places, you cannot breed a pit bull if you have children in the house. It's banned in other places as well. What do you think we should do about those?
They are the originators of those animals, and they have seen the challenges with it, and so they said we can't do this here. And I think that since they brought it up, they are saying they are not supposed to do. We're also supposed to do the same thing. I keep on mentioning the pit bull, and they are good animals, but if you are not very careful and you make a little mistake, they will cause a lot of harm.
Thank you very much, sir,
for your time. Proper regulations on the type of dogs you keep in the house, especially when you have children in the house.
All right, boss. Thank you very much for your time. And that's Banahene. He's a breeder. He understands dogs. And for me, I'd say this to you: if you want to bring a dog to your home, know about the dog. Every dog has its own temperament. Know about the dog before you bring the dog home. And like he said, if you bring the dog home, make sure that you introduce the people in the house to the dog or the dogs. Let them know that the people in the house are the leaders in the house. Because, like I said, these dogs, if you make them get to know that you are scared of them, you are in big trouble. So, I mean, when you went to the house, I mean, the fact that this young man has been buried and all that, I want to know the state that the grandmother is in, because she was also equally attacked by these dogs.
Yes, for now the grandmother is doing well. Just that the entire family is shattered by the demise of this poor boy and how he died. So the house, I'll say, everybody you meet in the house is very moody. They are very, very sad. It's a very sad situation because the mother has left the shores of the country just 1 month, and a few days after the father also left for Takoradi, the incident happened. So the parents expect to hear from their children, but 7-year-old boy is gone.
Now, is the father back? Has he returned from his trip to Takoradi?
Yes.
Have you met with him? Have you heard how the mother is taking this whole, thing?
Yes, the father is back. The mother has been informed, and I can imagine how the mother reacted upon receiving news of the demise of her child.
I can only imagine when she sees the picture of the boy.
I don't think it will be advisable for her to see the pictures. I mean, I've seen the picture of the boy, the deceased boy. Bad indeed. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. And again, where I live, people also own dogs. And Leo, there are some people who don't even know how to walk their dog. So they are watching a movie, they see that people put, the
leash,
the leash or the chains, as we call them here, and they're walking. Listen, if you're walking a dog, let the dog know that you are in charge. You are leading it. Yeah. But sometimes they have the leash on, and the dog is ahead of them, dragging them and deciding where to go.
The dog should always be by your side,
either by your side or a little behind you.
Yeah.
But we don't do that. There are some people. I saw a guy 2 or 3 weeks ago in my neighborhood, walking 2 boer bulls. Big dogs, and he's holding two leashes, 2 chains, and the dogs are going anyhow. In fact, they are dragging him, and I was like, we are supposed to control more ways, so because if one of them should get loose from your hand, and they're heavier than you are, and they attack somebody, you're in trouble. So we see things, we copy blindly. That's what I would say.
Usually when they do that, they have seen something they like and they are going towards it, not where you are taking them. So usually you stop, pull them, and then tell them.
Take control. It's sad, huh? Listen, you can call us now. Do you read dogs? Have you heard this sad incident that happened at Bonnie Chrome at Abreport? How do you feel? What do you think we ought to do to ensure safety of these dogs, in our homes? I love dogs, but I try to do the best I can. I'm human. I'm not perfect, but I try to do the very best. But somebody sees a dog also be pekramai, and once we go kramai, now they name them. 03220 83596 03220 83597 03220 83598. Are you contemplating even getting a dog? Has this morning's conversation helped you in any way? You can give us a call now and let's hear you. But again, Leo, I mean, you heard Ohimi say he wanted to have a dog. Ohimi, what has prevented you?
It's not that I've been prevented, but I want to take my time, get full time for the dog, because I like Kojo Banahine said, you must have time
for the dog.
To take care of the dog. So that's what I'm
Isaac,
planning
good morning.
to do.
Yes, good morning, Dave.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm well, Isaac, but a bit sad about the situation on hand.
Oh yeah, I don't know, but I feel so sad, and it's rather like unfortunate that this had to happen. I contemplated having dogs in my home. So just as you rightly said, I read about a whole lot, and I realized that people in my home were not really safe with it. Like, they didn't really like the dogs. And after reading about the temperament and all that, I decided not to bring dogs in my home, even though I love dogs so much. But I had to stop because of some of these things. And so, just as you're educating us, I think that we would all have to learn these things and then do the right things. And I think it would be safe for all of us. Thank you.
Isaac, thank you very much for joining us. Sam, good morning. Sam?
Hello.
Sam, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good to have you, sir. Let's hear you.
So I want to contribute to your program. Hello?
Sam, please, we're listening, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a dog breeder too, and I love dogs. And I must say that listening to your program this morning, I'm very sad. I wish and hope it doesn't happen to anybody again. But seriously, there are some petty things that we have to know about dogs. There's this thing we call food aggression. Sometimes you think you have fed your dog, you've trained it, and all other things, but we leave this particular bit of it out of it. When you bring a dog home, even as a puppy, whenever you feed it, try to take the food away from it and see how it will react. A lot of us think that once we can recall the dog when it goes out of hand and whatever we've trained it in, it's enough. This food aggression causes a lot of damage to people. Because you feed them, they see you come around the food and they think you are coming to take the food away from them and they will react. And some of these dogs too, when they see kids, they see them as prey. They see them as animals that they can just attack and eat. So it is always very important to make sure that we bring our families around the dogs. I have dogs. Some time ago, my wife couldn't allow my kids to come around the dogs because she didn't like the dogs. She thought the dogs were dirty and stuff like the furs and all those things. But at a point in time, I insisted and made sure that she allowed the kids to come around the dogs. And now we are fine. And even that, I don't leave my dogs with my kids when I'm not around.
Sam, thanks very much for sharing. We appreciate you, sir. Thanks very much for the call. Let's go to Stephen now. Hi, Steve.
Hello.
Stephen, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome, sir. Let's hear you.
Thank you. You see, I believe the dogs were not, they didn't bring the dogs when they were puppies. In fact, they bought it when the dogs were mature. That is the case. Because we see many a time people do buy those kind of dogs. And when you bring them home, they are not familiar with anyone. It is you, the owner. It will take time for you to be acclimatized with it. That is it. So I believe we should buy puppies, train them, let each and every one at home be familiar with the dog. When they grow, they will never be aggressive as we heard the other day.
Well, Stephen, thank you very much. But I can say to you on authority that, okay, let me put what you said, you were just speculating initially. But I can say to you on authority that there are times when you bring a puppy dog home. If you don't give it the right, adequate training, the dog grows to become an adult dog and want to take control of the whole home. Even would like to take control of the pack leader. That is the person who brought the dog home and feeds the dog and takes care of the dog. That's why I said earlier that, listen, you need to be in charge. Let the dog know, or the dogs know, that you are in charge. Let them know that whatever they do wrong, you will discipline them. It's very key. Nana Kweku, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, sir.
Okay. There's this lack of job for people, so now people have now turned into dog breeders. They are just breeding the dogs just for the economic benefits, but not to train dogs. So when they go in and then they have this big, large dogs, they're just for the commercial purposes. But for dogs, right from the puppy, right from the getting from the breastfeeding, you need to train the dog so that even if when he says sit, eat, you can train your dog. Even if you want to put food on its bowl, if you don't say eat, the dog will never eat because you've not trained. There is a situation we copy things and blindly we follow. But dogs, especially these dogs, not these are local households. These association dogs and then German, whatever it is, they are meant to be trained. And if you fail to train them, we have this problem. And I don't understand. Just as you said, someone walking along with two dogs, you sometimes find people with three. And then they'll be pulling them left, right, center. And then you say, why? Why do you go for this stress? For me, I don't have a dog. And I have my reason. I don't have time.
I hear Nana Kweku. Well, I love dogs and I have dogs. I mean, and they're fine. They're very, very fine. They're very, very fine dogs. Erasmus, good morning. He's going to be our last caller.
Yeah, good morning, David.
Hi.
Hello, David.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, David.
Let's hear you, sir.
David, in fact, it's rather unfortunate that was the incident that happened at Abreko. But the point is that how many Ghanaians who go in for these dogs sit down and do proper reading about dogs before they bring them home. I quite remember way back in the 90s, we had dogs in our house at the time. I was taking care of that dog. You see, the dog was trained in such a way that if an outsider put a food in the dog's bowl, he will not eat unless somebody within the house. But these people who go in for dogs, I have a friend who has a dog in his house. He trained them in such a way that when he speaks, the dog will listen to him and act according to what he says. There are people who pick these dogs, they don't even have time for the dog. They have no time. All that they do is to put food in the bowl of these dogs and leave it. And I think before the veterinary people must come in, before anybody, we should have probably a body who will regulate the breeding of dogs in Ghana. Because other than that, these problems will continue to persist.
All right, Rasmus, thank you very much. And, let's go on to our WhatsApp console now and share with you what others are also saying by way of their contribution to our conversation. Leo Stanley, please.
Good morning, Team Love FM. To you, David Akwate, the best man show host. Dave, this is Justice Key of IT Design inside Atunsi. You see, Dave, in our part of the world, we doesn't seem to care for anything else. The only thing is we have the pets. Just let people know that we have the pet to protect the home, to scare people from what coming or entering the home, or let's say prevent the criminals. That's the only thing that we know. How to even just use them, train them, do all sorts of what the Western world are doing with the dogs. We don't have that requisite, ideas to do that. So in our part, it's that's the only thing that we do. Ghana here.
Well, thank you very much. We have another one or a few more to share with you before we wrap up. All right, so here we go.
Hello, good morning, David. How are you? David, I told you I'm working as a gardener, and I've been encountering these bulldogs in some houses. David, a certain man told me that these dogs, if you are fond of feeding them with too much meat, especially fresh meat, when the dogs become hungry, they are likely to attack you. This is the case that the father and the mother have all traveled. So we don't know the food that the father used to feed the dogs with, whether too much of meat or fresh meat. And when the father and the mother went out, maybe they wasn't giving the dogs that meat or that food. So this may be the case.
Well, I hear you, George, and it brings the time to some 20 minutes past 8. Well, hello, Asanteman, or should I rather say, yellow Asanteman, Yasanabo. It's been an amazing Ashanti Fest 2023 on MTN, and the fun is not over yet. Now, for all our lovely people in Asanteman, we are still showing you loads of love and showering you with great offers. So this Ashanti Fest, dial *141# to enjoy up to 1 GB extra data when you buy your unique data bundles on MTN just for you. This is a special offer just for you, lovely people of Asanteman. Or say Chrome 4, Ashanti Fest, be the brutal. So come, let's have fun and stay connected everywhere you go. And also, let's talk about Syntex, shall we? So what is your preferred color of tank? Syntex has it. What guarantee do you want? Well, Syntex has it. What kind of inner layer do you want? Double, triple, quadruple? As many inner layers as you want, Syntex has it too. So remember, no matter what your water needs are, Syntex has it. Syntex tank, strong, tough. Now, we have over 300 agents nationwide. And to order a tank, you can call 0244 335 168. It is 0244 335 168. You can visit Syntex on social media at Syntex Ghana, or you can shop online on www.syntexgh.com. It is syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, strong, tough. In a bit, we'll be crossing over to Joy 99.7 for the Super Morning Show. But before we do that, listen, Robert and Sons Optical Services, second branch is now open in Kumasi. It's at Abreport Junction. It's adjacent to Angel FM and the same premises with Amenfi Rural Bank. Enjoy amazing discounts and free giveaways at our Kumasi Abreport Junction branch. Visit us at our ultra-modern Kumasi Abreport Junction branch for comprehensive eye care and unbeatable products and services for your children and for the adults as well. We are open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Mondays to Fridays, and on Saturdays between 9 and 1 p.m. Call us on 050-7656-876. That is 050-7656-876 or 050-1519-111 for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Robert and Sons Optical Services, second branch, now open in Kumasi, Abreport Junction. Seeing is believing. Well, we're crossing over to Joy 99.7 right now, where the conversation is going to be on something that the former CJ said. Georgina Wood said, listen, we need to do better when it comes to voting. We need to, upgrade our voting. That conversation is on the Super Morning Show now. We'll be crossing over shortly.
Hey, welcome back to work.
Charlie, thanks, bro.
The malaria really knocked you down, eh?
Charlie, no joke. Fever, headache, vomiting, loss of appetite. I couldn't even eat my usual fufu.
You and fufu?
How you go do it?
I hope you got tested before the malaria treatment.
Oh, yes, I did. And thanks to Malatu, I kicked out malaria one time.
Sharp. Anyway, sorry to ruin your excitement, but your boss asked of you.
Okay.
She says she has plenty work for you.
No problem, Charlie. Strength day.
You see,
When malaria strikes, take Malatu, containing Artemether and Lumefantrine. Comes in tablets and suspension for the effective treatment of malaria in adults and children. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malatu is manufactured and distributed by Ernest Chemists Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Daffy's or human new. Daffy's or human feminine mischancy. A massable so many so Emma. Ye bui and sciente ya bia. A san sies ye man cassa. Daffy abusiana ekese. Intie their mouth for comfort and no panel.
Daffy's shower gel and pour on money. You want to dear and a cocoa dear. What did Jaria and my natural look?
Mesu de misu Daffy's feminine cleanse and then a capsules ne CSM. And my minting carboni bia me Jimmy who dear and cassa.
Daffy no panel. And what dance here be Daffy sana. About my yenina.
Open the did Duffy's Health and Beauty Ewo East Legon American House Kumasen so ye Bank Tech Hospital enye map him for
FDA aje edwedin kato yato.
So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace.
My name is Diana Hamilton, VGMA Artist of the Year 2021 and brand ambassador of Awake Purified Drinking Water. I am super excited to partner with Ghana's first charity-driven water to give back to our communities. Awake is a brand that makes a difference. We impact the world around us. That is why for every bottle of Awake water you buy, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. Yes, every time you quench your thirst with a refreshing bottle of Awake, you're helping contribute to save lives. So keep drinking Awake Purified Drinking Water and let's continue making a difference. Awake Water, one for life, supporting the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA approved.
OneXBet jackpot is here with weekly massive prizes up for grabs. All you have to do is place your bets on any sports game and stand a chance to win. Simply register at onexbet.com.gh. Use promo code JackpotGhana and place your bets. OneXBet is your key to great victories. Feel like a winner. OneXBet.
Gambling can be addictive. Bet responsibly. Not for person under 18 years. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission.
Yes, DBS Industries has done it again. We have taken the lead by introducing the newest Colorlink Plus roofing sheets. It comes with 20-year warranty against fading.
Hold on a second. Did you say 20-year warranty against fading?
Yes. In addition, it has self-clean properties, meaning it has the ability to clean dirt that settles on it, making your roof look beautiful at all times.
This DBS offer is super cool.
Get your Colorlink Plus roofing sheet for your roof today. display. Look out for ColorLink imprint on our sheets. Locate DBS Limited in Kumasi on the Kumasi Accra Road at Adakwajachi opposite Kwamo Guel filling station. Call our hotline on 050-600-4141 or 0543-286-637. Visit our other factories in Accra, Tamale and Takrady. DBS Industries, your roof experts.
Super Morning Show.
Do we wish to create hope for the future by channeling our energies and other resources to developmental issues, or is it going to be another unending trend of pure propaganda as usual? It bears emphasis that the